A huge update is just around the corner, like really different from other updates. And we've got other news as well, such as like Loot Lake being dug up and Kevin possibly being involved. Possibility of health or shields on elimination coming back in some form, as well as some stuff to do with like Avengers, because there has been a few new things that have come up recently that could definitely be pointing towards like an Avengers event or something like that. We've got so many update things to talk about in today's video. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you do enjoy it, be sure to use my supported creator code TheLlamaSir. I seriously appreciate it a ton. And by the way, guys, reminder, it resets every 14 days, so be sure to put it in. If you appreciate my update news videos, my guide type videos, that helps out a lot. And yeah, on top of that, guys, be sure to hit that like button down below if you're excited for season 9, which is just around the corner. And on top of that, let's play a little bit of a comment game. Which of these 3 skins is your favorite? Blackheart, Hybrid, or Lux? Whatever it is, leave a comment down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. But without further ado here, let's jump on into it with the first thing I want to go over. And this in and of itself is super important because I think something big could be happening very, very soon, because they seem to be doing an update like completely differently from how they've really ever done it in a very long time, if at all. Like, you guys need to hear this right here. So basically, let's jump into it with the info about this. And this info comes from Dan over on the Fortnite subreddit. But basically, he had made a post that was asking for help with audio bugs and figuring out audio bugs and stuff like that. That's not the most important thing about this. It's something he says later in the article that we need to take note of, as well as how that interacts with some other things. But basically, quick overview, he's asking for some help identifying different audio bugs, and there's definitely been a lot, like, you know, especially in late games when I was playing Arena. But if you look down at the bottom of the article, he says this: please note that 8.40 later this week, Wednesday at the earliest, is going to break network compatibility and invalidate the replays. Now, the stuff about the replays and network compatibility, I don't exactly know if that matters. However, the part where he says 8.40 later this week, Wednesday at the earliest, is where it gets crazy, because guys, the last update was 8.30, and as you guys may know, they almost always take 2 weeks before going from like 8.1 to 8.2 to 8.3, and in this case from 8.3 to 8.4, but this time they're doing it in a week. There's got to be a reason for that. Now, one of the ideas I have is that it could be something to do with Rune. Rune comes out next week, so they're likely going to have it ready by the time Thursday is up, if it does indeed have to do with Rune, if there's a special event in game, which I definitely think there could be, especially since they've been hyping up Rune more so than really any other secret battle pass skin in the past. So there could very well be an event, whether that's an in-game thing happening. Hopefully they have some challenges for us too, or something like that. But if they're going straight from a big update to another big update, I think it could have to do with that. There's also the fact that there was no new item or anything announced yesterday on Sunday, which they usually do announce it Sunday night, but this is like the first time in a very long time that there wasn't anything. So yeah, pretty interesting overall. Now, that could also have to do with this possible Avengers stuff and maybe like a possible Avengers event, but again, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video because I want to talk about all of that stuff all at once. Alright guys, but moving on to this next one here, I wanted to go into game to show it to you because it's pretty important and there's a lot of specific things that I want to, you know, show you and talk about, so that is why we're in Playgrounds. This is the part where, you know, Loot Lake could be dug up and have something inside of it, which could even have to do with Kevin the Cube. I know we've talked a bunch about theories with Kevin in the past, but, you know, this could have something to do with either Kevin or something he left behind that could have to do with Season 8. So that is why I wanted to go into game and show it to you right here. We're in the playground, you know, loading lobby, looks great. Big volcano up there, very nice. But yes, let's just jump into it. So you know what, let's go into the Dusty Divot Rift right here. Alright, so as we're gliding on down, you guys have maybe noticed that, you know, the third dig site that showed up, again, there's 2 previous ones, the one over by Paradise Palms, the bridge, the one in Dusty Divot that filled with lava, and then this third one, which some games has been refilled with rocks and then other games it hasn't. It's kind of weird, but that's not what we want to talk about right here. Instead, we want to run over here to Loot Lake, because if you look over there, and oh my goodness, they're far in the distance, but if we go over here, guys, look at how many excavators are here, which is a huge clue pointing towards something big happening, because as you guys remember, excavators always showed up in like maybe 2 to 4 at the previous dig sites, something like that. But here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 total excavators, and some of them right over here are pointed straight towards the center of Loot Lake. Alright guys, quick update to this part of the video. They recently just changed the locations of the excavators. So instead of being like on the side of Loot Lake, they are now completely surrounding the center. So yeah, I think it's pretty confirmed that they're going to be doing something in Loot Lake, but I real quick wanted to bring that up because they did just change. So I wanted you guys to know about that. But yeah, getting back into the regular part. Which guys, I mean, it seems pretty obvious what these things could be looking towards digging up. It's the remnants of Kevin. Now, that's not the only thing about that. We also have the helicopter to take a look at. And hello, llama. How you doing, man? But, yeah, the helicopter is over here as well, and it is looking straight towards Loot Lake in the center. Very, very interesting because the helicopter is seemingly, like, circled around Loot Lake and finally ended up here where it's been sitting here for a while. So with that being said, guys, I definitely do think that this area right here is going to get dug up. You know, Kevin's remains, which is crazy. We don't exactly know what's going to happen if there's something under here. However, what if they're digging up that thing that Kevin dropped into the Loot Lake vortex that was, I think, right around here? You guys remember that old vortex type thing? When Kevin was like spinning in the air and like breaking, he had dropped something into the bottom of here, but we never really knew what that was. So could these excavators be digging this up? And again, the excavators seem to be working with like that agency that has been around since like, you know, season 4-ish. I don't know, guys, but overall it is super interesting. So comment your theories down below. We might have to talk about this later. Wait until we get more info about it. But as of right now, it's shaping up to be something really, really interesting. So I knew I had to show it to you guys right here. But moving on here to something very interesting I want to cover. This is the possibility of a Thanos mode coming into the game. We've talked about it a little bit before, but I'm starting to think that it could be, instead of like an LTM coming back, maybe it could be a full-fledged event with maybe challenges and stuff like that, since there has been quite a few clues recently about this possibly happening, and I think there's some new clues that I want to show you right here. Like this first of which, if you take a look inside of the content creator pack that Epic Games has provided, you know, for content creators to use, you know, it's got images of items and stuff like that. I believe they update it like every season. It's been super useful, but if you take a look in there, I found it very odd that one of the things is the Infinity Gauntlet. That's right, guys, this image was in there. And also with that, it says it was updated February 28th, 2019, which wasn't too long ago. So with that being said, could that be another hint towards something to do with Avengers Endgame happening in Fortnite soon? You know, I think it could be. There's also the possibility that maybe this has just been around since like way back when, but that's pretty odd because that event was like almost a year ago. So why would they keep it in, especially with season 8? That doesn't really make sense. So I'm leaning towards this maybe being a clue. But on top of that, we have a couple of other clues like this next one. It has to do with that picture of Robert Downey Jr. wearing the Fortnite shirt that was recently posted about and talked about by Donald Mustard. And then we have another piece of info that adds on to this, which could be even more confirmation that we could be seeing something with Avengers Endgame coming into Fortnite soon. But basically, first of all, if you did miss that picture of Robert Downey Jr., basically, Donald Mustard, the worldwide creative director at Epic Games, he always gives us some very interesting info, but recently he put out a tweet of a picture of Robert Downey Jr. wearing a Fortnite shirt, and he also said specifically, "See you soon." So that got a lot of people talking. Is like Iron Man going to be in Fortnite, stuff like that? And again, this was from a couple of days ago. It was April 13th, so that's not really new info. However, on top of this, one of the Russo brothers, I believe it was Anthony Russo, and again, if you aren't aware, the Russo brothers are the directors of Avengers Endgame, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, they're pretty important for the movie. But this has to do with something that happened last year, and I think it was around the time that the first Avengers and Fortnite, whatever you want to call it, happened, but with that Thanos LTM. But if you take a look back, Anthony Russo was seen in an interview on the Collider Videos YouTube channel, but he was seen wearing a Fortnite t-shirt similar to the one that Robert Downey Jr. was wearing. So yeah, I definitely think this is hinting towards, you know, something happening soon in the game with like a huge event. Who knows, maybe it'll be in the next update, 8.40. Maybe it'll be a little bit later, you know, after the movie comes out or something like that. And I mean, there is a possibility it couldn't happen, but all these clues pointing towards towards it. I mean, I think it's likely. So hopefully we do see an event. Maybe we get to see some like challenges with this. Maybe we get to unlock some special items or something like that. It could be so much fun. So hopefully they do decide to do something like that. If you are excited, hit that like button down below. Wouldn't you guys love to see something for Avengers Endgame? I know I would. But yeah, keeping it going here with the next thing I want to go over. This is something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while because it was a piece of info that was given out, you know, quite a bit ago, but I haven't had like a good video to really talk about it. But it's the possibility of maybe health and shields on elimination coming back in some form. Now, this is just a theory at the moment, but I find it kind of odd that this one specific thing happened, and it's possible that that could mean that they were testing some way of maybe doing like partial health and shield on elimination, some sort of middle ground, because if you guys don't remember, they initially removed stuff like that because it was leading to overly aggressive games where people would push too much. I think that's what they said, stuff like that. But recently, I think it was with the 8.30 update, pretty much soon after it came out, there was a bug where in Arena, instead of getting 50 HP on elimination, you instead got 25 HP. This was later fixed like pretty soon after. However, isn't that a very odd number? Why would it go from 50 down to 25? Now, when I looked at this, I thought, could that be a sign that maybe they're testing out 25 HP? And then that got me thinking as well, would 25 HP on elimination, would that be a good middle ground? Would it discourage, you know, overly aggressive play while also, you know, not keeping you completely out of fights if you get low on health and, you know, you get an elimination? Would 25 HP really help with that? Again, we don't know for sure, but I just think that's very odd. So maybe this could be meaning that they're testing something out like that, and it just happened to be left over in Arena, and then they had to fix it back to 50 HP. Again, hard to say, but, you know, it's a possibility that a compromise or something like that could be happening. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up to you guys. What do you think about that? And then after that, we've got a couple of other quick things to cover in today's video. And this first one actually goes hand in hand with maybe that stuff that's happening at Loot Lake. But recently, Donald Mustard changed his location again on Twitter. And as you guys know, we always love to keep track of the location he changes to because it always has something to do with the story, or at least it has in the past. Now, I'm kind of forgetting what the last one was. I remember it was something like searching for the, and then we didn't know what they were searching for. And that goes hand in hand with what he just recently changed his location to, which was simply the letter X, which to me seems to mean like X marks the spot. You know, typical pirate type stuff, fits with the theme, fits with them digging up Loot Lake. So that's my guess of what it is. But again, I'm excited to see like what they dig up at Loot Lake. And then on top of that, with another sort of story type thing, you may have noticed that in the week 7 loading screen, the one with Lux sort of diving down to get treasure and stuff like that, isn't it kind of interesting that if you look above, this opening looks very, very similar to where the door would be in the third dig site. It's about the same size. It seems to have similar like curves to the walls and stuff like that. So I definitely think that that is possible, that this is hinting at what's inside that door. Because again, if you go up to the door and you hit it, it's more so metal. Definitely seems man-made and could be hiding something. But then that begs the question, why is there a ton of treasure in here? What does that have to do with the story? What does that have to do with, like, you know, the previous 2 dig sites, the one having the volcano vent, the one getting filled with lava, and then why would this one just have gold inside of it? It's a little bit confusing, but I did want to bring that up. And with this stuff happening at Loot Lake, maybe that opens up. Maybe we find some V-Bucks in there. I don't know. But yeah, guys, I do think that's important in some way. So I'm excited to see what the week 8 loading screen has in store. Maybe that will help make more sense of it. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more fun videos coming out in the near future. On top of that, you can check out some of my previous videos here. And you know what? I just decided to put up a bunch of them. So click on one that you find interesting. There's a lot of good ones there. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one.